Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're able to take some time out of your day today to talk about finding joy in all life stages. My name is Angie Jenkins. I'm a wellness consultant with All One Health, and I'm also a certified master health and wellness coach. So, this topic, just to give you a little background, I was tasked with over the summer to create this for the All One Health enterprise. And so I delivered that last week and had 254 people join and got really great responses from it. So I hope that you enjoy it just as much as everybody else did. So it was a fun one to create. It's a fun one to present. So what we're going to talk about today is just a little bit about the difference between joy and happiness. We're going to just briefly talk about the benefits of joy, some sustainable happiness tips, and then lots of tips for finding joy and happiness throughout various stages of our lives. So that is where we are at for today. So, I never really thought about this until I was, doing the research and thinking about, is there a difference between joy and happiness? And there really is. Again, hadn't really thought about it before, but happiness is typically more of a fleeting emotion, often sparked by a particular moment or event, where joy, on the other hand, is a more long-lasting state of being characterized by contentment and satisfaction with life overall. So, thinking about that, happiness is more of an emotion and joy is more of a feeling. And then joy is not contingent on anything external and can exist independently. So, I thought that was very interesting that we can be joyful, throughout most of our life, throughout various stages of our lives, and even have off days. We can maybe not be joyful for, certain stages of our lives and still be happy. Throughout this presentation, though, I'm going to interweave joy and happiness throughout these examples. The more we're happy, the more days we can build on that happiness. That's going to in turn into that joyful feeling that we receive over time. So again, just wanted to give you that background in that regard. So benefits of joy, you probably can think of quite a few just off the top of your head. Well, there are research studies out there to show us what benefits we do receive in finding joy. So stress reduction and finding happiness can lower our stress hormones, leading to a more relaxed state of mind and improved health. It can enhance our resilience. So helping to cope better with setbacks and challenges, it can promote a positive outlook and making it easier to get through tough times. Improved relationships. Joyful individuals usually have stronger social connections. And being joyful can also boost our immune system. Having those positive emotions can increase the production of antibodies that enhance the natural killer cells, which are critical for fighting off illness. Our cardiovascular health is enhanced by lowering our blood pressure and heart rate. And again, being joyful can cultivate longevity by leading to a longer life. So a lot of great benefits there. I'd love to hear some of the benefits offhand from you guys in the chat. Throw it in the chat for me. What are some benefits that you've received from joy, whether ones I just mentioned or ones that, you have come up with on your own? All right, well, we can come back to the chat function. So thank you. Family perfect, yes. A benefit from joy is just really being able to breathe better and think better. Yes, all day long. Agreed. Thank you for sharing. So we'll have just a couple questions throughout the session today, just to keep it interactive for you guys. So sustainable happiness. Sonia, and I'm not very good at saying her last name, Layum Baumiskry. She's a Russian American psychologist that has studied and written many books on happiness. A couple of titles are The How of Happiness and Happiness Myths. And there are 5 things that she has researched and says are key indicators to sustain a person's happiness that you can see here on the chart. So positive emotions. Positive emotions can significantly lift people's mood, help them get through tough days, and promote healthy blood vessels and heart function, as we had just talked about. And thinking about positive emotions, and I may touch on this here in a moment, but thinking about being around other people that are joyful, a lot of times that can be contagious. Being around people who are happy, because research does show that behavior is contagious. So if we're able to surround ourselves with those happy, joyful, positive people, that in turn is just going to help us with those positive emotions. Optimal timing and variety. So, when applying a happiness strategy to your life, it's important to have a variety of activities and not rely on routines solely. So, looking forward to an event and doing things you enjoy keeps happiness fresh and alive. So, I would encourage you and challenge you guys to put an event or an activity on your calendar in the near future, in the next couple of weeks, in the next month or two, and really just see if that helps with you with the joy of seeing and preparing in the anticipation of the upcoming event, because that actually can boost our happiness as well. Just looking forward to that event. And I luckily have one to share with you. My husband and I are celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary in September. And so next Thursday and Friday, through the weekend, I took those 2 days, a day and a half off, and we rented a little cabin up in northern Michigan on a lake. And so I've been so excited since we booked that about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Just looking forward to all of that, all of the preparation and the fun that's going to go along with that, and just that alone one-on-one time. So we do have 4 kids, so we don't really get that a whole lot. So that has truly increased my happiness with all of the crazy things that are going on with school starting and stuff with the kids. Social support. Surrounding yourself with positive and happy people can make a large impact on your own feelings and happiness, like I alluded to. So, finding people who are like minded, that support your ideas and feelings, that provide that motivation, encouragement, and validation can be very crucial to your happiness. Again, there's books out there, there's research out there that shows us that behavior is contagious. And so, again, surrounding ourselves with those positive, like minded people can boost our happiness. Motivation and effort. So, setting new goals for yourself and having a plan of action to accomplish those can be a great motivator for happiness. When we put forth that effort to accomplish the goals and keeping track of wins, that can help motivate when we're in a slump or having an off day as well. So, thinking about when we are goal setting, tracking our successes and failures, again, that can be a key to motivation for future events, for future goals to keep us going. And if we are able to track some of our goals and looking back saying, okay, well, I had an off day on this day, but I still accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Again, those reminders, because sometimes when we're kind of in, the movement, the ebbs and flows of life, we can kind of forget what our progress is, even on those off days. We may tend to think of it, oh, it was a bad day. And looking back, saying, oh, there was that silver lining that I was able to document. And again, all of that is just motivation. All of that is just encouragement to remind us that we got through those days, we can keep going. And again, put forth the happiness when we're able to accomplish those things. And then the fifth one here, habits. So, when we think about habits, the old habits can be challenging to unlearn. And sometimes new habits can be, a little challenging to learn also. But when we're able to focus on what our goals and values are, what the most important thing is to you, looking at what your old habits need, what ones need to be gone, what needs to be modified, what needs to be replaced, introducing those new habits that make you feel healthier, that make you feel happier and more successful, that again, in turn, can help that happiness throughout various life stages as well. So, some ideas for how to instantly feel better. I love this because pretty sure you guys, everyone on the call, has probably at one point or another experienced all, if not most, of these emotions at some point. So, for every age, this is a good reminder that we are in control of our emotions and that there are options besides feeling stuck in the moment or the situation. Life happens, And it's important to feel and acknowledge our feelings and emotions, but not to stay in the space for too long. So next time you're feeling any of these big emotions, try the alternative. So when we're angry, maybe try singing. And I don't have a great singing voice by any stretch of the imagination, but I do like singing when I'm kind of alone or doing the dishes. I haven't really tried it when I'm angry, but I can imagine that would kind of just help to release those angry emotions a little bit. If you're feeling burned out, get up and go for a walk, releasing those endorphins. When you're overthinking, write it out. I'm a huge journaler. I love to write things out, as you already probably got. My passion was Sonia's tips on sustaining happiness, but it is just a great way to get those emotions out, get those thoughts out. We can go back and revisit them. We don't have to have it swirling in our mind 24/7, especially if we are maybe worried or anxious about something. Writing things out gives us that immediate release. It's the same as calling someone to talk to them. So writing things out can be the same as that venting therapy. If you're feeling anxious, just try some breathing techniques. There's a lot of really great alternate breathing techniques that you can do. Box breathing, 4-5-4 breathing, just deep breathing, just sitting with your breath for 60 seconds. So if you're feeling anxious, give that a try next time. If you're feeling stressed out, try to exercise. It doesn't have to be anything like going to the gym. Again, maybe doing some wall push-ups or doing some squats, doing some lunges in between meetings or whatever that looks like for you. Whenever you have that chance and you're feeling that stressful emotion, again, anytime we're able to exercise and physically move our body, we're going to have that natural release of endorphins that make us feel happy. And if you're feeling sad, try to focus on gratitude and what you're grateful for. And I love sharing this, but it is true, and research supports this, that if you're able to write down 3 things that you're grateful for 21 days in a row, your brain actually starts to rewire itself to look for the happier things in your life. So it's just a good way to maybe counteract that sadness. If you're feeling lazy or unmotivated, taking a cold shower, really waking yourself up, getting the blood flowing, restricting the blood vessels. And then if you're feeling kind of impatient, really reflecting on your progress. Like I was saying, if you're in a slump, maybe with a goal, maybe just with a life stage, whatever that looks like, reflect back. See all the progress that you've made leading up to that point. And again, that can help with, feeling better, because again, we sometimes tend to dwell on the negative things and the things that might be going wrong. And if we can just kind of flip that narrative, focusing on what really worked for us in the past, that helps with that progress. And so I'm going to go through just some life stages here, as that is the premise of the presentation and finding joy. So these are just some of the things that I thought of. Again, my husband and I have 4 kids. We've been through the newborn phase 4 different times, learned something new every single time. And our youngest is 8. So it's not like I'm super new to the experience, but again, things that worked for me while I was. And really thinking about having a newborn can be one of the most rewarding experiences parents can have. However, learning that new routine, maybe having sleepless nights, getting to know your baby and the whole new family dynamic can be stressful at times. So even if you don't have kids, if you're, past having kids, thinking about maybe the new parents in your life, maybe it's a son or a daughter, or, a grandchild or a neighbor or somebody in the family, and maybe helping share these tips. So this was the best one ever that I received. Sleep when the baby sleeps. The mess is always going to be there. People will, maybe hopefully come over and help you clean up that mess, or you can clean up that mess when you're not feeling so tired. Utilizing your village. If you do have people in your family or in your neighborhood or your community or in your groups, seeing what you can do to ask them for help. And asking for help at home. If you have a partner, a spouse, or again, a close person that is around you, a loved one, if you're feeling overwhelmed, as a lot of us new parents do, more than likely people want to help, they just don't know how. So it's okay to verbalize that. All of this, as you can imagine, is just going to help you enjoy those moments that you have that we can't get back with having those newborn babies. Thinking about meal prepping, setting aside one day during the week and just batching out some meals so you don't have to worry about cooking every single night. And then really thinking about batching errands. So if you have to run out, seeing what you can do to tackle maybe 2 or 3 things or 4 or 5 things versus, one thing every day. And of course, unless that's your goal is to get out once a day, that's okay too. But things that can be helpful for new parents and caregivers is just to kind of do that, especially when the baby is super little. And talking about kids now, when we're able to take time to work with children's emotions that will lead to their happiness by letting them know that you care about their feelings and giving them a safe place to express that. So I loved this little graphic where it kind of gives us that information or those ideas on how to do that. So sharing what you love about them, telling them what their strengths are. They have a great laugh, they're a good helper, whatever that is. Really listening to them. Again, with the 4 kids, when I'm done with work, I like a little decompression time that can also boost happiness for parents before they get started with their second part of the day with the family, taking that little bit of time to decompress before you start in. But I put my phone away because I want them to know that I'm truly engaged and involved when they do talk to me, when they're telling me about their day. And I don't want it to feel like they're battling for my attention when, when you have your phone up in your hands and things. So that's been a goal of mine. I'm not the best at it all of the time, but I definitely have gotten better. And it makes a difference. I can tell a difference in their behavior and that they talk to me more and those kinds of things. Help them identify their strengths. So just really being that positive encourager, oh, that was awesome kind of a thing. Again, validating their emotions, spending that quality time with them, and then using words of praise. And this may not be new news to anybody, but it's always just some great reminders on we can really help set our children up for success if we are there for them, if they do have that safe place to talk to somebody, to tell us their emotions, and that in turn increases their happiness and their joyfulness. And when we're talking about teens and young adults, I now have 3 teenagers, or will at the pretty soon. It's crazy. Time flies. These are again some of the things that I feel enhances and can enhance their happiness. Especially this first one. This is my favorite. So experiences versus things. So my parents and my in-laws started this a few years ago because you think about all the holidays and birthdays and all of the physical things that they get. And it builds up and they outgrow it. And then we have piles and piles, all that kind of thing, right? So my parents in particular made a board for each of the kids and put like 5 or 6 different things for each one of them to choose. So they all got like a date, if you will, with my parents, with their grandparents. So like things from like going to Chuck E. Cheese, going to like a motocross, going to like Lake Michigan on the beach day one day. So a variety of things that they each got to pick. And that was the first year that they did that. And it just morphed into an annual thing from there. So everybody loved it. It's special time with the grandparents, it's special one-on-one time for the kids. So really thinking about how you can maybe do more experiences versus things. And a lot of these tips can be used for any age, by all means, for adults, for younger kids as well. But living in the moment. So really teaching that mindfulness is a great way for young folks to focus on the positive and their happiness, not to be thinking about what happened in the past, trying not to worry about what's going to happen in the future. Just really helping them to be in the moment and to be mindful can increase their happiness. And research does show us that 90% of the things that we worry about don't even happen. So thinking about all of that time and energy that is wasted on things that aren't even going to happen. Now, there's a caveat there, maybe where I'm going to go to college or what am I going to do after high school. Those are different things as opposed to oh, I'm not going to get into college and, I don't know what to do. So there's that fine line balance that we can help them navigate through those feelings too. And technology. So helping them manage that. And there, again, research is showing there could be so many negative effects by being on and using technology, especially social media. And again, studies are showing that teens and young adults that use social media can have increased risk of depression. Thinking about if they don't get as many likes or acknowledgement on posts can affect them mentally and emotionally as well. So again, just help them navigate through how much time they're spending, if they're young enough to put those restrictions on there. I know with my Apple phone, I get a weekly um, pop-up notice of how much time was spent online or on my phone the previous week. And I think even under settings, at least for the Apple phone, you can go in and see like how much time was used on social media for each of, if it's TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, how much was spent on maybe Hoopla with reading a book. So you can really narrow those down too if you wanted to help them with setting goals for technology use. And persistence. So I thought this was a good one to put in, as practicing persistence is a key builder for resilience. And it's a good reminder and practice that if we stick to our goals and what means the most to us, typically we find that things work out eventually how they're supposed to. And it's a good reminder to keep going even when times may be tough, even if challenges do present themselves. It's just really about staying focused on what's important to you. And then helping them out with some stress management techniques. Teaching them how to de stress during a situation or a life event is a great way to increase their happiness. So, like I mentioned, deep breathing exercises, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation are great ways to introduce stress management techniques. There's a lot of really great examples online. YouTube has a lot of really great example videos to give a try. There's a lot of apps out there. Even the EAP, your Employee Assistance Program, has a lot of really great information and resources for you as well. And then goal setting. So having teens and young adults set goals is an important part of life, right? That should be learned. It helps them thrive throughout their younger years and help them to focus on what's important to them. Again, if we kind of have an idea of where we want to go, we're able to chase that better. We're able to kind of weed out, some of the challenges of the unknown. It can help with our happiness. It can boost our happiness. It can give us those things to look forward to if we are on that path. And then financial wellness. So teaching about financial wellness helps set them up for success, obviously, in managing their money and their funds. And this in turn may help eliminate worry or stress about money as they grow as well. And so, as Sonia mentioned, with like-minded individuals, this is one of the keys to happiness. So encouraging them to maybe get in groups somewhere in the community where they're around people that have the same goals and interests and commonalities, that can increase their happiness. And then they're more likely not to feel quite as alone. They have those people that understand. And like I mentioned, behavior is contagious as well. So we want to keep them in that positive environment for as long as we can. And so thinking about as we get older and aging gracefully, even with our parents, if we're kind of in the sandwich generation, like I am, having aging parents and raising my kids at the same time, some things I like to remind them of is really that daily stretching. 5 minutes, keeping your muscles limber is going to help with if there is a fall, that they are a little more limber, that they might not get as severely hurt. So that stretching and thinking about if you're reaching up in the grocery store to a higher shelf, if you're reaching into your pantry or cupboard and can't quite reach that, we have to get on a step stool. Again, having our muscles be flexible, more flexible than not, is going to help us with that. And really starting that at any age, right? But especially encouraging our older adults to do that, as well as staying active. The more physically active we are, it's going to keep our mind in check. It's going to get those endorphins going. It's going to do all the things, right? We always hear all these great things about, the exercise and moving our body. Still imperative for our older adults to do that as well. And even lifting light weights a couple of times a week, just a soup can, if especially if they're starting out, just something very small that maybe even weighs a pound or less. Again, keeping our muscles engaged. All of those three components are going to help if they do have a fall, they do have an injury, helps them with that recovery period. And boosting social connections, especially, if you have a parent or a loved one that's older that might be on their own, seeing what you can do to get them active in the community. And we talk about the use of technology, but this is where technology might really come in handy if they're unable to get out and move around in the community as physically as they would like to. So at least connecting again with people that have the same hobbies and likes as them. So helping our older folks get in touch with how to make those social connections, either again within the community, within the church, within the family, or online. And would really encourage, playing those memory games. So puzzles, um, crossword puzzles, jigsaw puzzles, anything that challenges your mind, make this a daily habit. And again, this is good for us as we're, creeping up to, getting into this next phase of age. Always, all of these are great for all of us, but especially the memory games for our aging adults too. Just keeps those brain cells growing. It keeps them intact. Thinking about some of their old memories, looking through old photos, just again to keep all of those memories intact and keep the brain working as it should. So I really liked the idea of this, the new wealthy. And as you can see here, so slow mornings, a loving marriage, healthy bodies, happy children, a thriving garden, time, home cooked meals. So all of these may not resonate with you. For example, as much as I would love to have a thriving garden, my thumbs are brown, they're not green. And so growing a garden in my near future is not a reality for me. Maybe in retirement, but not right now. But really think about, what is your wealthy outside of the financial state, right? It's always good to be financially comfortable. I understand that, but it's not, money isn't about everything, right? So for me, my wealthy is, having my husband and kids and having our health and our close-knit family and enjoying those memories together. I would take that over anything. So drop in the chat for me, what would be your quote new wealthy? And what does that look like for you? And it doesn't have to be anything on the slide at all. It can be something that is totally your own. Slow mornings, yes, and happy children for sure. Home cooked meals, feeling accomplished, a caring circle of friends, yes. All of these things, amazing. Thinking about our own happiness, right? Do you feel like these are going towards your happiness, your new wealthy? Yes, awesome. Perfect, you guys. And again, if nothing came to mind right offhand, just give it some thought. It's kind of a fun thing to think about, right? What is your new wealthy? What's your happy? What gives you that joy? And find more of it. Once you find it, find more and do more of it. So I absolutely love this philosophy. I once I started doing this presentation, and it might not be a new thing. It was kind of new to me. But I started the Sunday night mindset. So I mean, just thinking about it, we've all probably been there at some point. The dreaded Sunday, it's the end of a short weekend, never enough hours in the weekend, right? Thinking about the upcoming week. So instead of thinking about the dread, next Sunday, I want to challenge you guys to try this. Expect that you're going to have a great week. and change your narrative to, whoops, sorry, let me go back here. And change your internal narrative and perspective to, I am going to have a great week, and actually say these things out loud or to yourself. Everything will work in my favor. I'm expecting to hit my goals this week, and I'm going to have high energy. It's going to be an amazing week. Oh, doesn't that feel so much better than starting the week out with dreading it, already feeling tired, wishing we had another day of the weekend, and being focused on the negative? We can't change the days of the week. Right now, we only get the 2 days for a weekend unless we have, an extra PTO day or maybe a float holiday or a corporate holiday. We can't change that. So, isn't it better to set yourself up for success and say it is going to be an amazing week? So again, I encourage you to try that on Sunday and see if it has any kind of an impact on how your week starts. And so I wanted to, let me just check the chat here. The fall season, looking forward to crisp air, bonfires, decorating for Halloween, baking, apple picking. Jessica, you're reading my mail for sure. That is my favorite time of the year also, and football. Huge Michigan State Spartan fan. So in the Lions too, we'll see how they do this year, but whatever. But yes, this is my favorite time of the year too. So I also wanted to encourage you guys to remember the basics, right? We talked about that gratitude and what research has shown us with practicing writing those 3 things down a day for 21 days. So give that a try. Laughing. So think about it. It's kind of hard to be grumpy if we're laughing. So see what you can do if you are maybe feeling sad or angry or upset or mad about something. What makes you laugh? I like to look at, babies' laughter. Like if I go down and do they call it brain rot, if you're on social media, at least that's what I say for my kids. They're on social media for too long, but just going on for a couple of minutes and listening to babies laugh, or listening to, watching the puppies or the kitties, whatever that is that brings you joy, looking back at old memories, old photos. But do what you can to get yourself laughing, because laughing is usually contagious too, if you think about it. Thinking about if you're with your family, thinking about even if you're at work and people are laughing, it's kind of hard to at least not chuckle, right? So encourage you to do what you can in those off moments, or even if you are in a great mood, laugh. It feels great. There is a thing called laughing yoga as well. I think there are some videos online that could be fun. You could kind of get 2 birds with one stone there. So I also wanted to keep in monitoring screen time for us adults as well. The same ideas we talked about, but thinking about when I health coach people, a lot of times they say, and I've said this myself too, there's not enough time in the day. Well, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but this is a great way to start looking and seeing where you can add those minutes in. I already shared with you how you can go look on your phone, at least for the Apple users. I'm sure Android users, there's something under settings that you can do as well. But make those necessary adjustments. Set those limits for yourself, because it is easy to get down that rabbit hole, especially if we're kind of having, like a lazy Sunday, or, just kind of an off day and we're not really feeling motivated. So check your technology use to see if you can get some of those minutes back. And then thinking about sometimes the negative impact can have on us as well. The news, a lot of times that's what my husband typically looks at, is just to catch up on the headlines. And I'm like, don't let me know unless I need to get stuff packed and we need to go somewhere to another country, because I don't want to worry about it. I don't want to stress about it. Things are happening all around and it's good to be aware. So he's kind of like my news guy. And not that I'm, disconnected with everything, but it does tend to bring me down. And I've realized that about myself. So nature, get outside, especially with us here in Wisconsin and Michigan, before it gets too bad for we can't get outside. And again, research shows that people who spend time outside are typically happier. And I agree. The sunshine, 10 minutes of sunshine a day is enough to give us our natural vitamin D, which is one of our happy vitamins. It can make us feel happier. Thinking about, I love walking barefoot if it's, safe in the grass, kind of like in my yard. So that's grounding. I've hugged trees before, and some of these might seem extreme, but I tell you what, give it a try. It does make you feel so much better being out in nature. And then thinking about nutrition, we talked about our home cooked meals, and I absolutely feel so much happier that I'm able to provide my kids and my family with those home cooked meals versus, maybe driving through somewhere or grabbing a pizza on the way home. And not to say there's anything wrong with that. Those nights are okay too, because then we can have more time together sometimes. But having that balance, and when we are eating properly, it fuels our body and our minds so we can be more efficient at the tasks that we need to accomplish as well, right? So we're fueling our body, giving ourselves energy, in turn, able to, get through the second part of our day or able to get through the second part of our night, whatever that looks like for you. And then thinking about organization too, right? So having that organized space, organized house, organized desk can help organize our mind as well. And this is just a huge, huge project. I mean, I feel like with the 4 kids, like I clean out the living room, and the next thing I know, it's like, where did all this come from? I literally just cleaned this. I just cleaned off the kitchen counter. Um, so having them help with those kinds of things, because it does feel good to walk into a nice, clean, organized home. Thinking about what you can do to donate things, all those kinds of things. Now, if you're feeling that your mind is a little disorganized, try a brain dump. And if you've joined some of my sessions in the past or haven't, it's one of my foolproof methods to help organize my mind. And so, what you're going to do, and if you have heard me say this before, it's always worth revisiting. I do one of these probably once a week at least. I feel like I have 5,000 tabs open in my head at any given time. So it's a good way to write those things down so I don't have to worry about remembering them. So you're just going to set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes, however long that takes you. Start with 2 minutes so it doesn't seem overwhelming. And literally write down or type out everything that's on your mind. It doesn't have to make sense. Don't worry about spelling. Don't worry about punctuation or grammar at this point. Just literally everything that's on your mind, get it out on paper or on a note on your computer. When you're done with that, take another minute or two, again, however long it takes you, to categorize your brain dump. So you might notice some patterns. So, okay, here's some things I need to do for work. Here's some things I need to do for home, groceries and things I need to do for the kids or for the pets. Whatever, again, that looks like. So categorize your brain dump. And then you can have miscellaneous, of course, too, and figure that out. And then after you categorize your brain dump, then go and prioritize your top 1 or 2 things in each category that needs to be done. And again, it's just a good way to help close those tabs down, because when I don't and my brain is just swirling, I feel like I'm a little more impatient with the kids. I'm a little more reactive, and I don't mean to be. It's just there's so much going on in there with everybody coming at me at once. So again, it's a good way to stay organized mentally as well. And then we talked about that physical activity. So moving the body, exercises, we get that endorphin, we get the feel-good chemicals released. And then it's still recommended, just FYI, to get at least 30 minutes of moderate physical activity 6 to 7 days a week. We talked a little bit about positive mindset, but really finding that silver lining on our off days. We've all had them, and unfortunately, we're probably going to have more, right? That's just how life is sometimes. But what can we do to take out of that day to make it a positive? And then sleep. This is a big one, right? I mean, I don't know how you guys feel if you're not rested, but nobody really wants to be around me if it's been a couple of nights without a good restful sleep. We're a little more impatient. We're not thinking as well or as clearly maybe as we usually do. So again, for adults, it's recommended 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep is what's recommended. So if you are having a challenge with that, Think about your leading up to bedtime. Are you drinking caffeine a little bit too late? Are you drinking too much water too close to bedtime? And maybe that's what's waking you up. Um, Thinking about having some fresh sheets and blankets on the bed, maybe spraying some lavender, having that white noise, or maybe eliminating that white noise. Again, having something next to your bed that you can write down your thoughts. Maybe trying to eliminate the phone or social media right before bedtime. So again, if you are feeling like you need to kind of readjust your sleeping routine and habits, those are just some suggestions on how you can do that. And then volunteering, volunteering, our time has been shown to reduce stress and increase happiness and joy. So doing for others, again, maybe volunteering at an animal shelter, helping others out in the community can be great happiness and joy enhancers. So I plugged this one in this morning. So this is my knee. And so it wasn't a bad or stressful morning this morning with the kids, but typically my husband and I tag team it. I'll do the breakfast, he'll pack the lunches, help my youngest one get dressed, all that kind of stuff. Well, I was on my own this morning. And again, it wasn't super stressful, but it was more. And so I was just feeling a little frazzled, didn't take anything out on them. It wasn't that kind of a morning, but it wasn't the most positive morning I wanted to send them off to school with, right? So after they leave, I sit down with my cup of coffee and I look down, and this is on my knee, I think from filling up like my kids' water bottles. And so I thought it was just perfect for this presentation, but then I sent it to my three bigger kids and just said it's a friendly reminder for us to have a really good day today. So keeping in mind those small things. It doesn't have to be a perfect day for us to still have a good day. And we don't always get these visual reminders. I was very thankful that I did get it this morning because it's fun. Look at it. It's a smiley face on my knee. What I mean, it was fun, a fun treat to have. But keep it in mind, even when we don't get those visual reminders, just to keep our inner smile going as best as we can. And so I wanted to share some resources with you. I know we're getting close on time here. We are almost done. If in the meantime you have any questions or any comments, please throw them in the chat for me. Okay. If you have or haven't heard of Mel Robbins before, you could take her, give or take either way. I like her. I like her Let Them theory. It's a book. She has numerous podcasts that you can start listening to. And so the idea about the Let Them theory is to boost your own personal growth and emotional intelligence. And it promotes acceptance and reduces stress associated with trying to manage other people's behaviors and reactions. So this is a big one if you are a giving person, if you feel like people kind of take a lot from you, this would be a really great resource for you. I had to throw in Tony Robbins because he is so positive. He again can be a bit over the top as well, but he's been around for years, right? He's a author, motivational speaker, and coach, and he's written several self-help books like Awaken the Giant Within and Unlimited Power. So again, just a really great motivator. My husband used to listen to his CDs just to date ourselves a little bit here. Also, a couple of websites here for you. actionforhappiness.org. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on how to be happy from professionals, from people who have researched this, different tips, different angles, really great website. And then this calendar here, the happiness calendar, is from greatergood.berkeley.edu. So it's actually the College Berkeley puts out these monthly happiness calendars. And so this one is theme is to work on your relationship. So it just gives you an idea of something you can do every single day to work on your relationships. I know they have like self-care ones. You can go back and look at their library of calendars, but I always like pulling these up every once in a while to get some ideas on what we can do. And then Coursera.org. So it's a website that has hundreds of different colleges that offer free courses. And there are 2 happiness courses on there, and these are free for the most part. A lot of these are free. A Life of Happiness and Fulfillment was one of the free courses, as well as The Science of Happiness. So again, if you're interested in learning more about happiness, there's lots of really great resources here for you. And so I wanted to leave you guys with this. This inspired me. I thought it was a really nice way to end our presentation today. So there isn't a finish line that you have to cross before you're allowed to be proud of who you are today. You can still be enough even while you're finding your way. Still learning, still growing, still figuring things out, still worthy, still beautiful, still enough. Because life isn't only about the endings, it's also about the quiet, extraordinary moments tucked inside the most ordinary days. So I thought it was a great reminder that we're not going to all have, a 10 out of 10 day every single day of the week, but we can try to make it as close to a 10 as we can, with our perspective, with how we react, with the people that we surround ourselves with, and those kinds of things. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation today. I'm happy to stay on. I know it's 1:46, but I've got some time. If anybody has any questions or anything that they would like to share, please feel free. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you all again for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you guys for our next wellness session that we have. Have a good one. Thank you.